Hi all. Right, Avid Impulse. Right, we're going to do this. We're going to have a wee bit of aggression. See if we can go for the piper. Like I said, I thought I was now not going to be able to surround him, but because this unit's here, he's actually surrounded. Well, he's not surrounded. He does have an out hex here, but we want to close that off as well because we don't want him scarpering through the west. So even more reason. Okay, so these armoured units can't now come down into here because they're going from. Oh, yeah. Well, it's okay. So it'll be 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3 back into there. Now, is there any fear? Well, there isn't. But this whole infiltration move that they get once per activation is a bit of a maybe something you've got to consider as well because. Like if I go 1, 2, 3 with all these armoured units, he can't move into this hex. I mean, he's not stacked with another unit as well at the moment, so fair enough, he'll not be able to do that. Well, you know what, we're going to go for this anyway. Let's not mess about. So I'm going to put this guy in as well. I'm going to do exactly what I plan to do because and then take this guy. Now, hang on, is there another hex maybe that I might want to put that in? Keep that there just now. Yeah, I suppose, mind you, it would be flanked anyway if we put one there, but okay, I will put this in a separate hex. I'll put that up there, and then I'll move this so the IP will drop off into there. So it is now surrounded, because this guy's exerting zone of control into this hex. So if we do get him retreating, he's got. You know what? I mean, if he retreats there and then into there, I mean, I'm thinking if I can two retreat him, but because if he retreats there for one, he's got to take. No, he'd be bouncing into his own unit, wouldn't he? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's all the units I've got of the core. So, yeah, so let me just bring up the ally because we've not done this yet. The allied combat side of things. Whatever. Right, here we are, sorry. Right, after you complete moving units, right, so we're attacking the Piper's hex. And, I mean, the other great thing about it is he's in a clear hex. Right, so we're attacking that hex with all the units. Now, we can play one or more combat cards as combat tactics. So, well, actually, it might be worth a look. I'm forgetting they can play more than one, can't you? Right, give me a sec. Yeah, I think we're only playing the one combat tactic. That'll take us down to 3 cards. We've got 2 cards in our draw pile, so we'll get to see the last 2 cards. The only other, well, I've got reinforced battle, but I don't really see that being of any help. The other card I've got is Tank Battalion, which would increase strength by 1. It's basically doing the same as combat engineers though, because we've got armour in the battle already. So I'm going to play combat engineers. What was on the north side? Yeah, it was. Okay. Okay, now here's where it gets kind of interesting. And I thought I'd read a bit within this that I found a little bit strange. Right, we put the combat tactics. So now we're in to draw 1 German command card. Draw 1 German command card if at least 1 German unit defending in the combat is in supply. Well, he is in supply. He's a supplied unit. If the card's formation matches that of any defending units, and the defending units are in reserve supply, well, this is where he's not. Because this is the thing I find a bit strange. You don't check for supply at this moment, but reserve supply you would have to check it right at that time. So I'm finding that. Maybe it's put in there for other reasons that I'm just not quite catching. But anyway, he can't trace reserve supply just now. And you've got to remember, even if he had units adjacent to him, he couldn't reserve. That's where reserve supply is different. But he can't even trace supply, never mind reserve supply, because he's surrounded. And there's no allied unit adjacent, which is irrelevant regarding reserve supply. So he's going to draw a card, and he's not going to get an undetected defender, so he wouldn't be able to draw somebody else into the battle. But he is going to be able to use the card as a combat tactic, so that's a worrying part. So let's do that, and let's see what he gets. Oh my, it's army group card. Okay. Right, that's going to bring a whole bunch of other things into play at the moment. So he's going to get artillery. Oh, he gets 3? Artillery, assault coordination, and combat engineers. Now, hang on though, we played combat engineers, didn't we? So, okay, well, there's something else that's got to happen here first. I'm going to put this army group card here. I'm going to zoom out a bit, and we'll have a look at things. Right, let's deal with the army group card. So 8.2 is Army Group B, command card, and German reserves. All German reserve units start playing the calendar and remain there until released to the reserve units by the Army Group B card. When this card is drawn, regardless of what it is drawn for, so we're drawing it for a combat tactic, but it doesn't matter. You could even be drawing it to discard it. You know, when the Germans start their fade-in initiative, you could draw it to discard it, but this still triggers. Take all German units from the current and previous days of the calendar and place them in the reserve units box. Right? Okay, so if you look up the reserves there, we've got this unit was dated the 16th, so that's going to come down. I'll just bring them both down, and this guy as well, who's in the 17th. So they come down at the reserve units box, as you can see. And then at the same time, take all German reinforcement cards due to enter play on the current day and shuffle them into the remaining German draw pile. Oh, wait a minute. Shuffle into the remaining draw pile has just triggered something in my head that I've forgot about, haven't I? Talked about it as well. Have we drawn? I don't think we've drawn anything, have we? Yeah, we had this, and I've not shuffled it in. Oh, don't tell me. I think the cards were still all out. Oh dear. Right, give me a second till I'll go and have a look at this. Yeah, okay. Thought I'd got away with that. Just haven't. The second battle with the last German impulse. The first battle I had was when we played. Zoom out a little bit first. The first battle was when we played this card. And remember, we were activating things with the 6th Panzer Army card. So the first battle was that. So then I discarded that, and I've discarded that to the discard pile, and I actually went into the draw pile and got shuffled. So I've not done that. There's nothing I can do about it. I can only say everything's still random, but I then drew this card as a combat tactic for the second combat. So this is not necessarily the card that I would have drawn, because this would have shuffled. It would have shuffled with that card in it as well. You can see it's quite easily done. I mean, I talked about it as well. I did mention it. See, it's got an A on it. It's going to go back to the draw pile and get shuffled in. But then there's other things in your mind, and then you just end up discarding it. So all I can do is, I can't rewind that. So it still was a random combat tactic draw. It just might have been something different. So all I can do now is shuffle this in, and I suppose the other thing is, would we be drawing this right now? Well, I mean, it's still a random draw, you know, it's not that anything's been manipulated, but I don't like when that happens, because this is probably not what would have happened. But because I had that other combat and going back through all that, it's one of the ones that there's too much to rewind for too little to sort of like recover, if you like. You know, this is still a random draw. That was still a random draw. I don't think any of will hold that against me too much. I'll probably hold it against myself more than you guys will. It does annoy me, these things happening, but well, yes, I'm going to just have to stick with that, I'm afraid, guys. So sorry about that. Right, so back to this. What was it? It's when we talked about shuffling, that's what got me. Yeah, so the reinforcement cards. Well, reinforcement cards for the Germans don't actually, I've got these in order, they don't actually start until the 19th, so there's nothing for the 17th or 18th. So there's no cards to shuffle in. And basically it just says after that, this reserve release function of the Army Group B card is in addition to the function for which it was drawn, even if just drawn to be discarded, like I said to you, if you'd drawn it for the feed-in initiative, or if there's another way of doing it, maybe. Yeah, okay. And like the example it gives, if you draw it as a combat tactic during the Allied impulse, release German reserves and apply the card's combat tactic. So that's exactly the situation we were in. We're drawing this for a combat tactic. We release the reserves. Now this goes back to being used for a combat tactic. Yeah, so he's going to get artillery. Assault coordination doesn't do anything for and I'm sure. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's only as an attacker assault coordination, isn't it? Attacker only. Yeah, so it's not as if he's going to reduce hits with that as well. So he's going to get artillery, and the good thing is we play combat engineers, so he can't play combat engineers and build an IP, because we've played it. So all he's gaining from that is artillery, so that's not a bad deal for us, I think. Okay, so let's go back and just check what's next. Right, so now we need to, well, let's work out our odds. Pretty sure they're going to be 3-1, because that was the plan. So that's 12, 14, 17. One for the engineers is 18, so 18 against 6 is indeed 3-1. So nothing changed with that, which is good, because if he had, what was it, drawn the tank? Well, I think it's Panzer Battalion for the Germans, isn't it? That would, we didn't want him getting an extra strength point, anyway, that's for sure. Okay, and the chip pools are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the units, and only one combat tactics. Taking it to 6. I never quite thought about that, because we've nothing else we've not got elites to add another chip pool. Oh well, we can't do it now anyway, we've drawn the German card, so tough, I suppose. That's a pity I hadn't worked out the chip pools. It might have tempted me into the, well, I don't know, reinforced battle, tank battalion, yeah. Right, okay, so now we've got our chip pools to take into consideration. So there's going to be a minimum of 3 chip pools, and this minimum matters this time because it's going back to, it's us that's making the attack this time. So we're going to draw 3 first, and then we're going to decide if we draw any more than 3, if we draw 4, 5 or 6, and we've got to stick with whatever we decide. So let's get the 3 and hopefully we get some result. Okay, so there we go. Well, it's not bad. The front side of this was 5-1, and we've both got combined arms, So that doesn't apply. But the front side of this was 71, and I thought, I'm not going to get nothing. I looked at the back and it's flank attack, so that's a hit. So now we decide, do we want to draw, do we want to stop there? Well, no. Do we want to draw 4, 5 or 6? Well, I think we've got to go the whole 6, haven't we, guys? Right, so I'll get the other 3. Okay, there we go. Well, I suppose it wasn't bad. This was the next chute I drew. I thought, oh, Tillery, yeah, but it's an A1 at least. It's not taking away a hit from him, you know. So this was obviously dispersants applied or defender adjacent, which he doesn't have, and then we got a clear hex. So that's what we were hoping to maybe got 1 or 2 of them. To be honest, I think there's a clear that gives a D2 as well. That would have been nice, but however, that's what it is. So it's only 1 hit to us. 2 to him, so no, he's not going to automatically retreat anyway. Okay, so yeah, 2 hits to him, 1 to us. So we look at assigning hits to German defenders. Each hit is assigned to German units defending combat either as a 1 hex retreat of all units or a step loss to 1 unit. Assign each hit in accordance with the first of the following priorities it applies. Now I think this is just the same as the Soul game, the German Soul as well. A is if the defender has already retreated 2 hexes in this combat, apply a step loss for each remaining hit not yet applied. Well, that's not the case, so proceed to B. B is if the number of hits remaining is equal to or greater than the number of steps in the defending units, retreat 1 hex. Well, we've got 2 hits, he's got 3 steps. So if the number of hits is less, proceed to C. So we're down to C. If losing a step would cause defending unit to exert no zone of control from the hex it occupies, retreat 1 hex. Well, the Piper won't do that. Not instead of 2 hexes, he doesn't become bracketed. So if the unit would retain its zone of control, which it will, proceed to D. So now we're going to conduct a hold check to determine if the defending unit takes a step loss or retreat. So the hold chance is the hold value of the hex, which could well be a 0. It is, it's nothing. The steps in the defending unit, that's 3. +2 if all attackers are across the river, no. -2 if defenders are unable to trace reserve supply. Well, that is the case. So he's went from 3, that's a -2, so he's down to 1. And then +2 if all retreat routes would require an extra step loss, that is, the defenders would have to retreat into hex and allied control but not occupied by a supplied German unit. Well, that is the case as well. Every retreat he makes is going to have to take a step loss. So that's added a +2 back. So we're up +3 again. And then there's a +3 if the defending units have already retreated 1 hex. So let's let me check. I think it might be something errata. Yeah, the errata was just the part about the across a river, but I think it was errata for the German solo game as well. Just if they happen to have retreated already, then nah, I'm not going to go into that. It's not applicable here anyway. So we're going to roll dice, and so if we get equal to or less than the hold chance, we apply a step loss. If we get greater than the hold chance, retreat 1 hex. I would say we want to retreat 1 hex. So, but he's getting a +3 to this die roll. Is it that? Right, hang on, what have I got here? Right, I'm getting myself muddled up, hang on. Yeah, the whole chance is 3. So if I get equal to or less than 3, they take a step loss. If I get greater than a 3, they retreat 1 hex. Okay, so let's zoom out here and chuck this dice. There we go. Right, so 7. Well, I think that's what I wanted. I think I want him. So that's greater than the whole chance. So he's going to retreat 1 hex. And like we've said, the good thing is when he retreats, he's going to have to take a step loss. Right, so where's he going to retreat to then? Let's just look at that. Make sure I've got that right. Right, he's going to get to retreat priority 3, which is into an unoccupied hex in enemy control and in friendly supply. So this hex, and this hex are all unoccupied hexes, but they're in enemy control. But the supply, friendly supply, and it's just normal supply, can be traced from them. This one here, I thought it wasn't at first, but you can trace it into here, and then he's on the roads, you know, because he's surrounded on there. This retreat requires the removal of a step from one of the retreating units. Step loss does not count towards satisfying a combat hit. Right, so we know, but which hex is he going to go into? So more than one choice. So he's only going to go into an unbridged river, an unbridged river or a forest not via a road if there's no other options. Well, both these are forests, not via road. So so that's going to be his retreat hex. So he's going to retreat into there, and cause he's still in our zone of control, he's going to take a step loss. Now that satisfies one hit. So he's still got another one to deal with. Okay, so we're going to assign another hit, and he's going to move right down to option D again, because if he takes another step loss, where is he? Here. If he takes another step loss, he's got a replacement counter, but it's still not bracketed. So he still exerts zone of control. So we're going to conduct a hold check again. So this time he's in a 0 hold hex again. His steps are 2. Cross the river, no. Is he unable to trace reserve supply? Well, this time he can trace reserve supplies, so that doesn't apply. And if all retreat routes would require an extra step loss, that's not the case this time either. So he's just sitting at the +2, and then he's got a +3 if the defending units have already retreated 1 hex. So this time he's got a 5 as his hold chance. I'll just zoom out there again. I'm not really sure what would be best here, but I'll just roll it and see what we get. Oh, we've got a 10, so that's greater than as well. So that's another retreat, isn't it? Oh, actually, the good thing is he's going to be dispersed, isn't he? That's not bad. Have the Piper unit dispersed. Yeah, okay, so his retreat choice again. Give me a sec. See where he's going to go this time. Yeah, he's actually only got one choice this time, because this is in an enemy zone of control, and so is this, but this one is not. So he's going to retreat into there and become dispersed, which is nice. We like that. That unit's still in that hex, so there's a slight issue with that. I think it's if the hex gets attacked, they can only retreat 1 hex or something like that, isn't it? Dispersed. If all units stacked with it may retreat only 1 hex. That's what it is. Okay, so that satisfies the second hit. So now back to us. We've got to take a hit. Okay, I'm going to take both these become bracketed and 1 strength. This one goes for a 3 to 1. So I don't know. I'd rather keep my armor at full strength, but it does just drop from a 4 to a 3, so it's not terrible. So that's my 1 hit. So now to see if we want to advance. Oh, I'm not that sure we actually do want to. The only thing that does make me want to is these armoured units are in a clear hex. In fact, yeah, this unit's in a clear hex as well, but we have to advance it. If any of the infantry move, they're going into a clear hex, so I don't see the point in the infantry, but the armour could advance into there and then second advance into this broken hex at that junction. I'm just wondering if that might be better. I mean, that's adjacent to everything. I don't think we'd be feeling sort of like all brave to attack the Piper again where he is. I don't think it'd be nice to try it, but I don't think so. 4-8. What have we got? We've got 11 against. He's reduced now to. He's still got 7 strength in the hex. But I could still maybe come into this hex. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to leave them. Oh, wait a minute. I was wanting to try and rescue that guy, wasn't I? No, I can't. If I was deviating from the path of retreat, I can't move into that forest. Or that forest. Which would give him an out, wouldn't it? Oh, I've just noticed something else as well. I'm not going to get into that hex because as soon as I move into here, I'm adjacent to that detachment. I'm pretty sure that stops us. Yeah, an allied unit must stop its movement or advance after combat upon entering a hex adjacent to a German detachment. So I'm not going to be able to do that. And there's no real point putting any of the infantry units into there. The only thing, if I did put one in there and they activate again, it removes that detachment, but I'm fine. I mean, if I activate them again, I can get a unit into this hex to help this guy out. So, okay, I'm just going to leave them where they are then. That's going to be that. Okay, so that's an impulse over. The only other unit we had was here. He's already got an IP. There's nothing else we can do to benefit. Oh, right. I keep forgetting to bring this one up. And it's really quite important and one that you just wouldn't think about. Whenever you move allied units, they have to end their turn being able to trace supply. I think that's it. Let's see if I can find it here. Movement, it's probably under movement somewhere. Yeah, 10.6. An allied unit may not end its movement in a hex from which it cannot trace supply. The exception is an allied unit that like for instance this guy. This starts its move unable to trace supply and is unable to move to a hex from which it can trace supply. So I mean, you know, there's nothing we can do about that guy. But we can't move and end our turn in a hex that we cannot trace supply from. And that's something you could easily miss. I mean, you don't necessarily want to be putting them into that position anyway, but it is one you've got to try and remember that's unique to the allied solo, really. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention it. Okay, so that's an impulse over, so I'll tidy things up and we'll get our last 2 cards drawn and we'll see what they are. Okay, let's just see what the last 2 cards are. Oh yeah, 12 core, yeah, that's good. And then, yeah, like I said, this was the one we used for core artillery. Yeah, so more than likely some deployment of, well, either 5th Corps deployment next turn or the 12th Corps units. We'll have a look and see what the Germans do first, maybe to see if more than likely going to be the 5th Corps, I would think, but you never know, we'll see. We'll see what they do. Okay, so I'm going to pause it there for now, guys. Just take a break, cut this video up and get some lunch, but I'll be back soon. Well, yeah. Okay, cheers. Hi all. Right, I'm getting to have another wee shot today. I actually feel like I'm putting more into the Allied solo here than what I did with the German solo. Actually, I'm complaining it even more. Okay. Draw as German impulse, right? So, 47th. Okay, so we've got 2 primary cards, but this one's clearly the it's got 3 command value over the 2 command value of the 80 core unit card, sorry. no event on this card, so we're looking at this card, activate all units in the core, so here we go, 47th time. Okay, no roadblocks adjacent. The army objective is in Hoofways here. There's an allied unit in it, so no German units proximate, and there's a unit 3 away, but not quite 2 away from it, so it's going to stay where it is for now. So now we're going to go on to move the units. So I'll just do what I've been doing before, and we'll find out what the first one, what I feel like the first move should be. Okay, I've came movement method 3, cause surround. Got a situation, I believe this unit, this infantry unit, can go 1, 2 breaking zone of control and 3 into here, and that would actually surround this unit. Because yeah, this unit's exerting zone of control into here, he would be exerting zone of control into there. Yeah, so I think we can do that. I don't think any of the other units could do it. It's just him, the fact that he's this other side of this. So, and there's no restriction, I believe, so I think he's going to do that. So 1, 2 breaking away, and 3 into there. Now this unit's surrounded. Yeah, okay, so I think that was the only one. Yeah. Okay, on to movement method 7 for the infantry units, moving in descending order, because there's 2 of them here that could do this. So select number 14 on the top. Movement method 7, infantry move adjacent to allied unit or town to which no non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. So this is an allied unit, and a town that's not got, these are both armoured units. So this guy can go across the river and be adjacent. So that's going to be that. It then means that this guy can't do that because there's already an infantry unit adjacent. So I don't think there's going to be any more of that. Okay, so we've pushed on to movement methods 10 to 13 now. So we're going up in selector order. This is the first unit. Can't move with arrows, can't move closer to his army objective, but he can do that cheeky old infiltrate yet again. So he's got selector number 2. He's with another unit. They're not bracketed. You can actually move 1 into this hex. It's not a restricted hex. It's not a forest. Not across a river. So he infiltrates into there, marking this unit as moved also, and he's went from being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away to his army objective, and he gets to ignore that zone of control move, obviously. Upon completion of this move, all active units in the hex from which the move began are considered to have moved. See, I still feel that's it's definitely a different wording. Sorry to go back over it again. Considered to have moved. I'm happy about tilting that one to 45 degrees, saying that one has considered to have moved, but movement is considered complete. I think that just means that you've went through the movement methods and you've came to the conclusion that there's nothing it's going to do. Its movement is considered complete, but it's not moved. That's how I see it, but I can see arguments for both sides. Don't get me wrong. Hoping we will get an answer to that one way or t'other. Maybe eventually. Okay, so that's 2 done, that's 3 done. So what we're looking at now, the guys back here, selector number 4. So let's just see, well, right, so movement arrows are possible. So that'd be 3 into there, 4 into there. But movement arrow doesn't count because the bridge is down, isn't it? There's not another arrow there, is there? No. So that actual arrow isn't even there. So there wasn't a secondary arrow, no. Right, so they're not going to move with movement arrows, but they will be able to move closer to army objective, so let me have a look. Yeah, get the feeling they're still actually going to move into here. They can't get adjacent to an allied unit and closer to their army objective. The nearest unit to them to do that would be this. And because the bridges are broken, they could do with repairing this. This is probably a good bridge to have been repaired, but they've not had the option to do that yet. So Unit 4 is going to move closer to its army objective with 3, 4. Oh, actually, it can move into there as well, can't it? Yeah, he's 9 away from his army objective at the moment. If he moves here, it's 8. If he moves here, it's 7. And if he moves here, he's 6 away. And obviously, when you can't reach an allied unit, you go to the hex closest to the objective. So that was 3 movement into there, 4 and 5. Right, I'll need to remember the extended move. We've not moved with arrows yet. I could see that one could forget as well, which I think I've forgot already, haven't I? Well, that's because I didn't bring the rule into play, to be honest. Right, okay, so next one would be Unit 6 here. So yeah, he's going to join him because there's still a space in that hex. What's that? That's 13 underneath. So 10, well, hang on, we've got unit number 8 down here, so we need to look at that first. Yeah, okay, this one's straightforward. Can't move with arrows, but he can move closer to his army objective and adjacent to an allied unit and satisfy the 3-1 strength advantage, because all these units can be added to that strength. So it's only hex he can move, so he can just move 2 into there. And that's him done. He's 1 closer to his army objective as well. Right, moving back to Unit 10 here then. Well, he would join these 2, but now the stack's full. So again, we've got to try and just see what this unit would do. What I'll do is I'll pop them down the bottom just now and we'll see what he would do. So I'll jump ahead to this one to have a look. Now, I was just about to jump him over the river there, but because that would be closer to... He can't move the arrows. Again, he's wanting to come down the bridge, but the bridge is broken. So that would make him adjacent to this, closer to his army objective, and doing the 3-1 advantage on the allied unit. But I think his buddy there, he jumped over that bridge, didn't he? Jumped over that river. So I don't think another unit... I'm just going to go and double check that one. Yeah, that's right. No more than 1 unit may cross a given unbridged river hex side in a single activation. And it if we were coming from a different hex side, that would... But it was exactly that hex side. Now, I just remember them missing out on detachments here, so there's one there that we went through, and well, can't see any more yet. Need to keep on top of these things, or I'm going to miss them, and I'm going to have to look back on things. So, so he can't do that. Oh, I've moved the page. Where were we? Oh, give me a sec. Yeah, see what he could do, and I dare say what I would probably do. He could move him across this side. So it's crossing the same river, but it's a different hex side into here. But that is the same distance to his army objective, so he's not going to do that. So, well, he can still get to close to his army objective, but he's not going to be able to get adjacent to an allied unit. So, he could just jump across there. That's going to be 1 hex closer. could go up 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's a possibility too, right? Give me a sec. Yeah, so both moving into that hex and this hex would be equidistant to the army objective. One hex closer than where he is, but then it goes to the direction on the army objective, which is west. So this hex is slightly more west than that, so I believe that's where he's going to go. Alright, hang on though, we jumped ahead here. Well, that then allows, right, well, you know what, I'll just jump back to unit 10, because he can now go 3, 4, 5. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Because we now know that unit's going to move out. Well, you know what I'll do? To keep it straight, I'll put that guy back there. So that's now overstacked at the moment. Now that detachment would have been removed when the guy moved into it, but it just gets popped back in when he moved out of it again. So that's all good, and there's no detachments there. That's all fine. Well, actually, it's unit 13 we're on now, isn't it? So we know what he's going to do. He's just going to jump across the river there. So last one is 15. Okay, we've got some dark blue cubes there. He can't move with his arrows. He's again trying to get over this bridge. But move closer to army objective. Can't get adjacent to an allied unit. These are 3 possible options. He's 7 away from his... No, sorry, he's 8 away. He's 8 away from his army objective at the moment. If he moves there, he's 7 away. If he moves there, he's 7 away. But if he actually moves up here, he's only 6 away. So he's going to move as close as he can get. Now, can we go through any? No, we can't, can we? Because he needs to go in here for 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 into there. And like I say, now he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. So that's closer. Okay, and there was no other... Yeah, and I don't think we crossed through this hex, or could cross through that. The only one beam was that infantry if he had went up and around, but he didn't. His better move was crossing the river. So there we go. Right, that's the movement. So the only attack we've got to determine is here, obviously. So let's have a look at that. It'll be unit 2 will be the lead unit. So we've got 7, 11, 14 against 2. There's no assault coordination, again it wouldn't have mattered. 14 against 2, he's not in a forest, not in a approved position, not adjacent to, yeah, he's not getting any boosts at all. So it's 14 to 2, so the odds are 7 to 1. So we don't need to roll dice for that one. Greater than 4 to 1, you just conduct the attack. Okay. Right, so let's draw combat tactic. Infantry infiltration. I get the feeling that's not going to help them. Yeah, because this unit's in a town and they're not attacking from one hex, so that would be the only 2 things that would benefit. So it's just a chip pull, that one. So now we look at the support card, which is fixed artillery. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Fixed artillery. What is the range? That's what I want to know. What is the fixed artillery range? On the 17th, it's only 3, but pretty sure that's yeah, there's a West Wall hex there. So 1, 2. So yeah, we can use that, and it's different from what we've already, but it's not as if we've played artillery, so that's a wee boost to them. Yeah. So next part, before we jump over it this time, just to start getting to remind myself that it's not applicable here because they don't have any, but this is where you would add active German reserve units. Well, we've now got a couple of units in the reserves, and this is where they would come into play. So if there was a 47 core unit in here, then it might come and join the battle. So good to get in the habit of maybe just starting to check that out. But not this time. So now, do we want to play a combat tactic? So let me have a wee think. Right, well, I should probably sort the odds out first. It's better to have a look at that before you... I mean, I've got reinforced battles, but I can reinforce. Remember, it would have to be something with a strength of 2 or less. So, but there's not even any in range, I think. Well, but it's 4 strength, even if it could reach. So I can't reinforce. So the only option I've got is I've got engineers as well. Well, I suppose I do have tank battalion. I've got tank battalion or core artillery. So let's sort the odds out first though. So 7, 11, 14, so it's 14 to 2, so it's 7 to 1 odds, so big odds here. And chip pools are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 for elites 5, 2 for the combat tactics is 7. So 7 chip pools, large attack. Well, how do we feel? My worry now is that it looks like they're going to break through here. Bastion's open. My cards are on the table, and not one of them includes 8 core. I mean, yes, you've got the activate any one unit, which there's a good chance that might be happening. I don't have... No. Yeah, activate any one unit would still work, I suppose. Right, so, well, we know what core artillery was going to do, and they've played artillery, so that's just a gamble. Tank battalion would increase that to 3, and what did I say, 14, so it'd be 14 to 3. Drawn a blank, it's 41, isn't it? Yeah, that's quite a big difference then, isn't it? Then we get armour in the battle too. Yeah, I'm not really sure I want to use that card though, because now that I'm realising I want to use 1 card for activate any one unit, I also want to bring both my reserves in, so I need the card for each of them, and I'd like to move the 5th core once I brought them in. So that uses all my cards up. I mean, it would leave me with a no command card, but you can't use that for activate any one unit. So, but then again, you know, if I drop the odds to 4 to 1 and maybe give that guy a chance, you know. Okay, I've actually decided that I'm going to do this. I don't know. Yeah, I think I will. I might not need to activate any one unit and maybe just still leave Bastion open. Or, the other thing is, there's some more 12 core units come in on the 18th. So I might just use that card to activate any one unit and then deploy the 12 core units on the 18th. Well, in actual fact, 2 of them will come in because they're dated the 16th, so 2 of them will come in for free anyway. Right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for this. So that increases our strength to 3. So it knocks his odds down to 4 to 1, and it means that we have armour in the battle too. So, well, it's a bit of a gamble, but it might help him. Maybe, I mean, he might have to retreat. I'm hoping worst case scenario he retreats 1 hex into that forest, but it could be a bit optimistic. But right, so that's us. Yeah, let's just draw 7 chits. Okay, great start. I thought it was on it. Well, It's just the one chit, but started off with a Woods chit. Turns out the odds didn't matter, so Attack Battalion did not help. 2 large attacks. He's got the A minus even to take away this from the end. And the priority in the artillery was defender, so I would have benefited from playing that. Flank of that doesn't count because it's in a town, so yeah, not good. I'm not 100% sure what we got. Yeah, so 3 hits to us, 2. I would have been happier with 2. I mean, yeah, we can still survive, can't we? Because we take 1 away for the town. Right, I'll need to clear some of that stuff away and get a retreat. Yeah, so 2 hits, so we retreat. Satisfies the 2 hits, but we've got to take a dispersal. So, not a good state to be in. And yeah, they had no hits, so we just need to see a bit of advance. It's more than likely there's going to be a bit of that. Okay, just checking advance after combat, and I think I might have been hasty a couple of times. I just noticed that the second option, it's into a town or closer to army objective. I might have missed that one. Damn it. Yeah. I think I've just seen the into town bit and not registered the next bit was closer to army objective, so I don't know. Yeah. Don't really think I can go back and fix that. Could I? Last attack, maybe the first SS. Well, I know 1 unit was in there, but other route. Yeah, no, I think actually I got that right. When I'm looking at it, I think I got it right. Because they were coming, these units, no, sorry, you can't see them on the map. I think they were coming in their forward direction. They just rolled high. So, okay, it's possible I've missed one. If any of you guys have spotted it, put it in the comments so at least other folk can know, but I'm not sure I can go back and check. It's possible I've missed one. Right, anyway, let's just have to leave that one go. So this, although it's not his forward directions, primary there, secondary there, it is into a town. So into a town or closer to army objective, we'd advance on a 1 to 7. So we're going to check that one first. So he rolls a 4, so that's a yes. That's unit selector number 2. Right, sorry, got a call on my phone there and then I got dragged away as well. So I just rolled the dice for selector number 2. Have the window open again. I've listened back on it, it's not, I think you can still hear things. Okay, it's not ideal, but it's starting to get a bit warm, excuse me. So hopefully it's not too much of a pain. Right, so he's going to move into here. And I was just grabbing a town control marker when my phone went, and then things happened for there. So, right, yes. So he's going to move in there. Now, obviously he can move an extra hex. Right, hang on a sec. So he would, the path of retreat is that way. He would want to deviate only if it was following the forward or the primary or secondary route. But the primary route is actually following the path of retreat, and it's across, and this is a bridge. It's across this bridge into this hex. So yeah, he's going to automatically advance, and when he does that, is going to gain control of this bridge as well. I was just looking up there just in case some of these other units might. Because this unit's dispersed, you can only advance one unit across into a zone of control across a bridge. Or, in fact, well, crossing an unbridged river would just be the same as well, but that's the same for all the kind of rules. I think even with movement here, this is the same. You can't move across a bridge. Only one unit could move across a bridge into an enemy zone of control. No more than one would be able to do it. And I think that's the same with just normal movement. So, but it does apply here as well. Thing is, this unit's dispersed, so it's not exerting zone of control, so that's not going to apply, but just thought I'd mention it anyway. So he's made his movement. Now, I was wondering if there's a need for a detachment marker in there. It's in a town, so of course this could be where I was using all my detachment markers up, putting them in towns. What is the point of that if it's a German town? Well, let's just see. There's more than likely one unit's going to end up in here anyway, so it'll not matter. And we can maybe worry about that one later. So unit number 3 would be next. So that's his primary arrow. So that's an automatic into there for him. And then, because this isn't a zone of controlled hex across the river, he could advance into there. So it's primary arrow, but there's also a unit in there that's moved in there. So we would advance on a 1 to 6, and that is a 6. So he's going to go across 2, and then who's next? Number 8. So this is the secondary arrow. There's no units already advanced into there. Yeah, number of advancing units already in the hex, so they've moved on, so that's fine. So he can move in there, but then they'll never move more than, once there's 2 advanced, that's it. So he's going to stop there, and then the infantry is last. The infantry, what was it? It's into a town, isn't it? So that's the same. No, it's not. It's not. Because it's not his arrows, is it? Yeah, no. So that's in a town, of course, an arm objective, but there's already a unit already in there. So that's on a 1 to 3. He's rolled a 5, so he won't advance into there. So that's that. Yeah, so I think that's everything. I need to maybe keep that in mind, have a look about if detachment markers, I dare say they should still be placed in the towns, because it would then mean that an allied unit could just stroll into a town if there was no detachment, where if there's a detachment in the town, they've got to stop on becoming adjacent to it. So, but however, there's a German unit in here anyway, so we don't need a detachment for that. Okay, I think that's the impulse over, isn't it? And we used, right, what are we? What did we? We cleared the cards away, didn't we? Yeah. That was to make space for things. Yeah, we had used this. This was a support card, so there's no support card left. So all the units made a move, so there's no chance of any of them jumping back into reserves. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's impulse over. So I'm going to tidy things up there. I'm just going to cut this here, but I'm coming straight back. It's just to just to finalise the videos so I can post them into no, no finishing a bit like I did that once before when it was in the middle of everything. So I'll be back soon, guys. Okay, cheers.